Welcome to tonight's cooking show. Tonight we'll learn how to do berenjena a la calabrese following the Miletos Foundation recipe. The ingredients that are needed for this recipe are as follows: 9 grams of eggplants, olive oil, vinegar, garlic, salt, red pepper, and parsley. In order to accomplish this recipe, one needs to follow a series of procedures. First step is to wash the eggplants, and once they're washed is to peel off its shell and cut it in slices. Here we're cutting the edges of the eggplant and peeling off its shell. We need to be careful in order to not cut ourselves with the knife. Once the eggplants are peeled, it's very important we follow this following pattern in order to slice it. First, we cut it in 3 halves. 1, 2, and 3. Once you're cut in this way, we need to cut it in this way of slices. Try to make the cut very thin so the berenjenas taste even more delicious. Once the eggplants are already cut in slices, we put them in a bowl so we can mix the eggplants with vinegar and salt. Once they're already here, we start mixing and mixing for around 15 minutes. Here, we add the salt. Then we add the vinegar. And once it's done, you start mixing. It is important to remember that these steps needs to be done for at least 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of mixing the eggplants with the vinegar and the salt, here you can see that the eggplants reduce in size due to those ingredients. Now, in order for the accomplishment of this delightful and exquisite recipe, it is important to drive off the juice of the vinegar and the salt of the eggplants. So, here, we start grabbing the eggplants and start squeezing it very hard until there's no juice. Remember, they need to be dried off completely. Once there's no more, you put it here. Once we already squeezed off all the juice with the hands, to be even more sure, we're going to place the eggplants in this towel to squeeze it even more. You may be wondering why it is so important to leave the eggplants without any juice. The reason of this is because if they contain any juice, they might be fermented, which is really bad and can produce fungus and all that. That's the reason why it's very important to be cautious with this. Once we're done squeezing it and there's no juice coming out, we put the eggplant in a clean bowl. And and start cutting the garlic so we can mix the eggplants with the garlic, the parsley, the red peppers, and the olive oil. For one to cut the garlic in an easy way, we smash it so the shell can be removed easily, and cut the garlic in little pieces. Very, 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 very tiny pieces. Once the garlic is already cut, we put it in its bowl and grab the bowl of eggplants and start mixing for around 1 minute the parsley, red pepper, garlic, and eggplant. We grab the bowl, and as I mentioned before, we spread the garlic, but there's nothing remaining in the plate. The red pepper, and the parsley. We mix and mix. Once we're done mixing all the ingredients, we grab our jar where we are placing our Berenjena Calabrese, and with our hands we start filling the jar. It's very hard for me to get my hands inside. Once the ingredients are all inside of the jar, we grab a fork and start pushing it, or squeezing it, a better word for it. And we grab the olive oil and pour some inside of the jar. This needs to be a very delicate move, as you can see. Now we have the oil. With the fork, we start doing this, moving the eggplants so there's no Now we pour some olive oil. With the help of a knife, we start doing this very gently without moving a lot of the eggplants. This is so there's no air left inside and the oil can get through all the eggplants. Once we're done, we close our jar, and we're done with the Berenjena Calabrese. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned how to do it. Thank you.